Cheeky Breaky chat. Shame on all of you who said that this is a Yiddish song. You don't know anything. How out of touch are you with internet stuff? I guess Stalker was a while ago, on the Stalker points. In case you don't know, that song is very famous. It's from a Ukrainian-made game called Stalker, which is based in the Zone. It's loosely it's like a sci-fi setting. I think it's based off a Russian novel where like aliens visit and then they just leave behind Roadside Picnic, and they leave behind like a bunch of like weird alien trash that's basically magic and causes like all sorts of abnormalities in the area around it. It's called The Zone. I've actually never played it. I know a lot about it because it's permeated internet culture so much, but I've never actually played Stalker. Though they were supposedly working on a Stalker 2, the same company out of Ukraine, and I guess they're going to have to cancel that shit or move. Deja Vu, you've talked about this before. No. I have not talked about Stalker before. You're thinking of Seth Zintek. He's talked about Stalker, and he talked about Roadside Picnic. That's where I know this from, to be honest with you. That's why you think that. Oh, hello, everyone. Let's see. Last week I promised some Women's Month content. I do, in fact, have some Women's Month content. Though not probably not the kind of women bashing that you would want if you're a groiper, God forbid. Actually, I have here's I've reorganized all my tabs because I have too many tabs open when I do the stream, so I've reorganized them. But now you can see on my screen all the shit that I have for the entire stream before I show it to you. I guess that's not too much of a spoiler, huh? Seeing the tabs, but maybe I'll try to keep it a secret. I'll try to hide it before I switch. But I probably will forget to do that immediately, immediately after I say I'm going to try that. Chris update. Chris moved to a mental hospital. I don't think his case has changed. You know what? While we're waiting for people to kind of get in, I will talk briefly about a status update in my cases. I've received a court order completely unrelated to anything else that I have going on right now, and I've had to delete posts by order of my by third-party companies that I rely on, because they have received a court order targeting content on my site, but yet they did not give it to me. So the gist is that a user is being sued. I have an idea of who it is, and it's a company. It's not a person, I'm pretty sure. And I was required by the upstream to delete these posts, and I'm waiting to see the court order. And I think they're trying to keep it from me. I think that's what's going on. And I may be willing to be more tactful about this, but they have to be upfront with me about what they're doing and what they're afraid of, because if they're just trying to fuck me and make me not know about why I have to delete shit on my site, I'm going to be very displeased with that. So look forward to my update on this developing situation next week. The other case updates are Greer and Melinda, and I will talk about this very briefly. Just as a matter of fact, apparently with Russell Greer, right, he received pro bono representation from some bullshit media group, right? And I think what they're trying to do is win easy wins for intellectual property so that they can take that case law and move it up to Disney level media stuff, right? So they're representing him, and from what I was told by one of my attorneys, because I now have multiple attorneys, and I have to say one of them, the one that I'm really friendly with, elucidated to me that when a group offers pro bono representation, or really offers to represent anyone for anything, be it for pay or for pro bono reasons, it is very, very difficult to get out of that. A lawyer can't just say, actually, I'm not going to represent your interests anymore. I'm out of here. They have to have a ethical reason, pretty much, to get out of that arrangement with their client. So when these groups decided that they're going to represent Russell Greer, they may not have known anything about Russell Greer. And they may find themselves in a situation that they can't get out of now and have to deal with for free because they offered to do it pro bono. If this is the case, that is very, very funny, and they fucking deserve it. Because from what I understand, I've paid a flat fee for my attorney for the appeals process, because after Russell lost, and he did lose, he filed an appeal to a circuit court above the Utah court. He filed it, and that's where the pro bono representation came in. And we're now in mediation, like stage 3. I cannot say anything about the mediation process, but I think that it's gone to mediation like 3 times now. Can't say anything about what has actually taken place in the mediation, but the fact that it's gone to mediation 3 times should tell you something. They're working pro bono, and my attorneys have been paid a flat fee for the entire appeal process. So I'm not losing money by this, and I think that maybe they're hoping that I am. So they're just going to keep trying to do it over and over again, hoping that I'll just run out of money. But I've paid up, and they said that for the flat fee, they'll do the entire appeal thing. So it's like, okay. So I think they're trying to drag their feet to get me to just come to terms and give them what they want. And I can't tell you what they want, but that's how it reads to me. The other one is Melinda. And that's been waiting for 6 months, I want to say, for the judge to act. And then recently the judge did act and was going to arrange a conference where they had to appear in person, and then I was going to appeal to show up via Zoom or by a phone call. And that was canceled because of the unavailability of the parties. Now, obviously, I have no issue showing up, so Melinda has decided to say that the date is inconvenient to her, and that is because she's pregnant again. So this is like child number 8. She's had like a litter of kids, and she's having more kids. As she's actively wasting the resources of everyone in the country, she is having more children. Isn't that wonderful? What a world. I'm so glad that we have socialism to prop up these fucking families forever so that they can continue to breed more insane fucking kids. But I'm happy for that. Like, okay, you want to kick the can down the road over and over again, go for it. I don't care if this case is unresolved by the time I die. Like, if nothing happens and it just stays on the docket because nobody wants to deal with it, whatever. It's cheaper that way. Go for it. If they want to file a mediation every 6 months until the day I die, go for it. I've already paid. I've got a contract for a flat fee. Go for it. So just madness. Madness all around. All of it is complete and utter fucking madness. But now that we're settled, I can start talking about what I have planned. And the first thing that I have planned to talk about is just some general celebration of Whammons Month from the real Whammon that need the most representation during this time. Let's see. I think I can show this on stream. I mean, those are man boobs, right? This is from a lovely account from a person representing the transgender spectrum as being definitely not a fetish, is Fanny Traggett, named Fanny's Got a Brand New Vagina, saying, "Happy International Women's Day from me and my new pussy." Wow. Very, very funny. It's a P word. I should have censored myself and only said P word. What ass P word? I need one day I need to do a whole deadpan rendition of that Ben Shapiro WAP cover and be. How's it go? It goes like, pick it up inward, catch a charge, extra hard and extra large. Wipe your face like a credit card. One day I'll do it. I'll do a complete recitation. I'll have to memorize the lyrics. I'll whip it out one day on stream. I'll do WAP all the way from start to finish. Catch everybody off guard. Now, my favorite trans, Buck Angel, registered copyright, transsexual man, for Buck Angel, or the Twitter handle, Buck Angel. If you don't know who Buck Angel is a female to male, and they do nude modeling, and it's Uncanny Valley. This is like a buff dude. It looks like a buff dude, and it has a vagina, and it's like it's very unsettling to look at. But I guess it's somebody's fetish. Though I like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm a horrible bigot, right? I'm sorry, I am peeking. I'll turn my gain down a bit. Let me know if I'm too quiet. I might be too quiet now. No, this should be fine. This should be fine. So I like Buck Angel. Well, I don't know him, so I can't say I like him. Though they've done something that I consider admirable. Way back when the Trans Lifeline stuff was still happening, Buck Angel saw all the documented evidence of enrichment that the Greta Gasava and Nina Chabot had done with Trans Lifeline, and they legit called it out, like, on Facebook, and said, like, this is like a trans charity, but they're just stealing all the fucking money. So that was like the first domino, really, beyond the forum that started to fall to get Trans Lifeline ousted. And ever since then, I've had some level of respect for Buck Angel. That was a real bro moment, if you know what I mean. But Tranny versus the World responds to Buck. Actually, I didn't read the actual tweet. Buck Angel says on hashtag International Women's Day, the Vagina Museum, which is already weird. The Vagina Museum is only talking about trans women. I am so confused. Replying to the Vagina Museum saying, this International Women's Day, we're going to talk about trans women in history. We've turned replies off because we know some people would prefer these stories to be erased and silenced. I don't know what the fuck that means. But Buck Angel, not to be discouraged, quote retweets them so that their reply turning off shit doesn't matter, and points out that he has a vagina. So how is it fair for the Vagina Museum to focus only on people who have cocks? How is this a sane and rational world? Which is a fair point. to be honest with you. So Tranny versus the World, which is also a weird thing. What is it with like Fanny Traggett, unironically going by that name, Traggett? That's almost as bad. I think Traggett is worse than Traggett. So it's like a humiliation fetish that they have, where they really want people to know that there is no such, like, their gender identity shit is all bullshit. They really are just fucking creeps. And Tranny versus the World says, think about it, cis women are not walking around with a bullseye on their backs right now, and they are not losing out on any rights like we are currently. I find it extremely thoughtful that they are putting the spotlight on is for once. I have something to refute this. I can, in the course of this stream, I can verifiably prove to you, my audience, that trans women, like Tranny versus the World, are more in the spotlight and more respected than actual women. You just gotta wait 1 second. Now I'm gonna put a little caper on this Women's Day tirade. But I continue. I've named this girldick.jpg. This is an Instagram photo from Jesse James Keitel. Filter on 150% going on here, and the t-shirt says, a girl without a dick is like an angel without wings. Happy International Women's Day at J.K. Rowling. Ooh, a little bit of foreshadowing. Now, I think Buck Angel flies better than this train, to be honest with you. Okay, now, we can't... This was published 1 day ago, and this is a interesting thing that I'm sure we're going to see more of. I mentioned a while ago that the UK has this sudden epidemic of female sex offenders. For some reason, sex offending women is like less than 10% of all sex offenders. I think even less than that. But for whatever reason, we've been seeing a lot more. Is that Tommy Tudor? No, it's not. I can verify he's not in jail. For some reason, we've had more female sex offenders in the last couple of years. Very strange coincidence. Maybe it's just people are more confident in coming out about being abused by women. Who knows? Who knows what it could be? But now we have a female serial killer, and not the one in Germany that was like luring, like using Tinder to like lure men into her apartment and then murdering them, which is pretty clever. It would be very effective, actually. Though I guess somebody eventually would be like, oh, my brother didn't come home after his Tinder date. And then they just kind of like look at that and go, oh, well, probably she did it. Anyways, trans serial killer arrested in New York City after woman's body parts found. That sounds like an SVU episode. A serial killer has been apprehended in New York City in connection to a grisly murder in which a woman's body parts were dumped across a Brooklyn neighborhood. Harvey Marcelin, a biological male who identifies as a woman, was arrested late last week on a charge of concealing a body, which could soon face additional charges after he was caught on CCTV disposing of a body near his apartment. It goes on to explain that Harvey had been arrested, is 83 years old, first of all, and had been arrested twice prior to this for offenses against women. He was shot his girlfriend 3 times in their apartment and was sentenced 20 years to life. He had been arrested in 1986 for a second slaughter, they says, but was released in 2019, so just recently, once again on parole. He told his parole officer that he had a problem with women, and now he's being held in Rikers Island, and the Supreme Court for the state of New York, I assume, is going to hear a case that he should be moved to a women's prison, which of course would make sense because obviously a female, a sex offender and murderer targeting women who has a problem with women should be housed with women. Now, I'm sorry, but, women's, like, okay, you think about, like, American prisons. American prisons are like a fucking nightmare. The only way it could get worse is if you're in, like, Brazil or someplace where they don't even have, like, air conditioning. You go to American prison, and they're, like, you're overpopulated by a factor of, like, 100%. So they have to, like, cram people in 2 to 3 to a cell, a 6x6 cell. And then you think, like, okay, how does that get any worse? And then you think about, like, the rape memes, but male-on-male rape doesn't happen as much as, like, it's memed about. But if you put a male sex offender in with women, like, that is literal hell. That's like the government-sponsored Fritzl dungeons. How do we allow this? How have we gone so crazy that in the name of justice and equality, we now put sex offenders in a cramped cell that they cannot escape from with women? Like, it's just nuts. It's literally insane. It's like something that would be a joke in like a 1984 like future horrors prediction novel, where they're like, okay, we have to like take things to like the umpteenth degree to show like this satire of our direction of our society. It's like this is something you'd come up with to scare people in the future. I don't know. I think that what we need to do is we need to take them and we need to exclude them from society in every way. They can't participate in society. They can't teach. They can't go to the same schools. We need to completely segregate the weirdos who are not like straight. If you're not straight, you don't get to participate. You have to go to your own prisons. You have to go to your own universities. You're not allowed to have a professor title in like a school. You can't go to like normal jobs. You can make like your own organizations for gay people. You can't function with us because you're going to rape people. We can't tolerate you. Speaking of, in my bigoted diatribe, old friend of mine, Lorelei Bailey, a name that may sound familiar because they are like a canker sore that will never go away. Lorelei has been involved in like everything. Like all the Chan stuff Lorelei has been involved in. And they recently just got outed as being a years-long like power mod for the R ContraPoints Reddit and was immediately forced out. Let me tell you a story about Lorelei. Let me pull up a picture, actually. I don't know if the ones in the OP are safe for work, so I'm just going to pull one out at random. Here we go. Lorelei was recently a thing I talked about, I think because of this, actually. I mentioned that Shinigami Eyes, where if you install it as a browser extension, you'll see red links for any Twitter user or YouTube channel or website that is like associated with transphobia. So if you see like a Kiwi Farms link, it'll be bright red. If you see a link to like they had a bunch like, okay, if you're on Twitter and you see J.K. Rowling, the link would be red, and that's like your protection to make sure you don't see something transphobic and be really triggered. And there was a rumor that Lorelei was a developer for Shinigami Eyes, so people had to come out and say that no, they're not involved because the actual developer is anonymous. But this caused Kanini, the bunny developer tranny from Pleroma, that I also talked about a long time ago for being a developer on the thing we use for KiwiFarms.cc, who had a huge spat with us. They came out and said that Lorelei had nothing to do with the project, and they were involved with it. So this is Lorelei, and Lorelei is a weirdo. I think that my first exposure to Lorelei was that they had this thread on the forum is ancient. This thread on the forum is like from 2016, I want to say. And when it was new, a person DM'd me, and they said, "Hi, I'm trans, and Lorelei raped me." I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And they sent me a link to their portfolio website, which at the time was just lorelei.info. And then it had like a secret directory, like lorelei.info. And I've checked, this is like gone now, but it's lorelei.info / like fun / sexy stuff or whatever. And then it had like all their nudes, to which I've archived on the forum. And it had a video which I did not archive to the forum, which was Lorelei, some other, it looked like a dude, but it could just be an even worse passing. And then it had the person who DM'd me. And the person who DM'd me was getting fucked in the ass. And then Lorelei was kind of like a third wheel bouncing around. No, the person getting fucked was like obviously super drunk. And if they had anything to drink, they didn't show it at all. And Lorelei was just kind of bouncing around and like grabbing ass and trying to play with ding dongs and stuff. And was basically a non-participant in their own sex video. But the story was that they said Lorelei inherited his grandmother's house, and they had extra rooms. So if a trans person went on the internet and said, "I'm homeless now because I'm whatever, I'm trans, I'm disabled, I'm autistic," and then Lorelei would hit them up and be like, "I have spare rooms if you want to come over." And then Lorelei would get them drunk and fuck them and record it. And they told me this story, and I watched the video, and I concluded that they're probably right. So I told people this, and it has essentially gotten them super mega canceled for being a rapist. Even because, like, okay, the story is you're a person, and then you rape someone, and then you tune out to get rid of it. Well, if you rape again, and if you rape a tranny especially, well, you've committed the ultimate sin. The only unforgivable sin in the trans community is to fuck with other trannies, right? The other people who it's like if you go into, if like you're a snitch, and then you go to protective custody, and then you fuck with another snitch. Well, then they're like, well, we can't, if you're like hurting snitches in the snitch room, we can't hold you with the other snitches. You got to go back to general population. And then you're in Gen Pop and you're a snitch, and they won't take you out. That's basically what happened to Lorelei. That's what's happened. So, they were ousted as being a power mod under a different name for ContraPoints, and they've subsequently deleted everything again. Glitching audio. I don't trust you. I wish people would stop lying about my audio. The Bates Hotel. Alpha snitches. No, beta snitches. The worst of the worst. Snitches who have betrayed their fellow snitch. Alright, let me hide my thing so you can't see my tabs once again. Okay, today, chat, I'm going to do a follow-up. We're going to talk about the war some more. Now, the Discord fatties, the Karen army, has invaded my Death Fat board, as you can see over here. And they are making steady progress in taking it over. Allow me to explain what's happening here. Chantal has had her channel banned from YouTube for repeated offenses. Now, what this means is a mystery to everyone, including Chantal. And it is believed that at the behest of Charlie Gold, who you may remember as being the Fat Black Lady reaction channel, who, oh geez, I have to do a captcha. Oh my god, my thing is instantly accepted. Good luck for me. Charlie Gold is the fat black lady who Chantal once called Charlie Cole, and because she's black and has inherent black privilege, she accused Chantal of being racist, despite the fact that Chantal has only ostensibly fucked black men for the last 20 fucking years. So, she's accused of being racist and has to apologize for it and blah, blah, blah. And Charlie Gold is saying that because Chantal went on to Omegle and then told an Indian guy who was, I guess, underage to show Bobs. She is now a pedophile and should be banned from YouTube because she is a child sex offender for saying show Bobs to an Indian boy. That is the level of retardation. So she outlines several different things that people should be mass reporting. And then within the week, Chantal's channel goes down for repeated offenses, which means that this is likely a coordinated thing from her and from the Discord Karens, who are now invading my Death Fat board, to punish Chantal, which is a thing that is unknown to me. Why you would take this person who pumps out 50 hours of content every fucking week and then kill that for everybody is completely and totally beyond me, unless you assume that they're jealous. They're jealous that this fat woman, who was fatter than them, probably, just by a little bit, is having sex when they can't get anybody. It has cats when they can't even get their cats to play with them, and makes $20,000 a month. And they're like, that makes me angry. It makes me angry because I am a Discord fatty, and I'm fat, and I'm useless, and I don't have any children, and my cats hate me, and I wish I had money for it, but Chantal gets the money and I don't. So they coordinate, and they get the shit taken down, and it's like, okay, well, it might come back, it might not. Probably will come back because it's bullshit. Because, like, okay, I think she showed her ass on stream. It's like one strike for that, but I posit this. I say this on my board, and I say that deplatforming is bullshit. I say completely straight faced, deplatforming is bullshit, and if you support deplatforming, you belong in a fucking ditch. And the floodgates have been loosened. This is the reaction from the Karens on my East border. Not funny, didn't laugh, live, or love. Outraged. And this is a real post. This is a real post that I got, which I will now read to you. Am I the only previously silent viewer who was finding out right now after years of lurking that Noel being infatuated with Chantal isn't a joke? A revelation to me, at least. The void of not watching her piss her pants live is truly burning within. I think I found my replacement lolcow. Seemingly more upset about the termination than Chantal herself, demanding people be doxxed, sharing personal anecdotes as a defense. This shit sure is doing weird things to everybody, including causing me to post when I finally just made an account to gawk at the bath whore. I'm here to request another 15 pages of arguing, but this here. Thanks, y'all, heart emoji, and thanks for the little suckle of milk, Noel. It's funny to watch a man spiral over Chantal. I'm sure your nips will be shooting projectile streams everywhere soon with enough practice. This bitch wants me to breastfeed her, and that is fucking weird. This is bizarre. All I said is that I am pro-content. I am pro-personal liberty. I am anti-deplatforming in general. And this is an outrage. And I said, if you want to dox any of these people in the Discord, go for it. I don't care. Like, if they think it's funny to fuck with people's money and their livelihoods and shit, why shouldn't they? Not that I would protest people being doxed in general. I'm just saying. But this is a huge offense. It's a personal army request and blah, blah, blah. Any statement in defense of Chantal is... infatuation. It's a downward spiral. It's a mental breakdown. And it's just like, my point is always this: if you're mad, if you think that someone needs to be punished, you're on the wrong site. If you think that if you watch someone and you only feel anger, you're on the wrong site. You're not using the site correctly. It's a place to laugh. It's a place to have fun. It's not a place to intervene in someone's life, to punish people, to get revenge or whatever the fuck. If you think that this person needs to be struck down by the wrath of God, well, stay on your fucking Discord, bro. I don't want you. I don't want people like this on my site, because you bring down the mood and you sour it for everyone. And they did not take that lightly. And I don't care. I don't care. Go make your own forum. Stay on your fucking Discord. So that's the Chantal, the War Room update. I finally got my Beezer revolution, but it's directed at me for daring to say that we shouldn't ban people from YouTube for saying show Bobs. Oh, I forgot to fucking hide it. Oh well. Okay. Part 3 of my Whammons Day coverage. They say no milk tastes like kiwi fruit juice. That is fucking disgusting. Oh, before I talk about this, by the way, J.K. Rowling and shit. Someone was asking what it would take to like self-host a streaming thing, and I'm dead serious. Chantal said she makes $20,000 a year. If she has money saved up and wants me to set up a streaming service, I have been planning this in my head for fucking years now. Crunklord has ideas of how to make it happen. It's a matter of getting the hardware and upgrading our connection to a 10 gigabit per second line. I'm getting the DDoS filtering in. I'm going to have the option of upgrading to a 10 gigabit per second line as of June once I get to my router. If you want to do it, if you want to set up our Kiwi TV, our anecdote to Cozy TV, I can make it happen. But you got to pay me because that shit's expensive. $20K a month. A month. $20,000 a month was what she said. And if she has $20,000 a month, even a fraction of that can support the apparatus. So I'm saying go for it. If you want to be on Gunt TV, I can make it happen. I got the power. And of course, we would have the option of letting other people on too. It would be great. It would be great if I could get a serious financer for something like that. That'd be fucking awesome. I would have to hire people though. That's the only downside. Okay. Anyways, enough of that. J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling on Women's Day says, in response to Wanda Maximoff, you really want your legacy to die on this hill, J.K. Rowling. To which J.K. Rowling replies, yes, sweetheart, I'm staying right here on this hill, defending the right of women and girls to talk about themselves, their bodies, and their lives in any way they damn well please. You worry about your legacy, I'll worry about mine. Winky face. So J.K. Rowling is a turf icon all around the world. She is the new queen of England, and she has pissed off all the trannies and all the tranny supporters, including, significantly, Vaush. Vaush, of course, decked out in the Ukrainian flag for whatever fucking reason, saying all J.K. Rowling had to do was shut the fuck up, and she could have been the most uncritically beloved for like a century. Women, be quieter and start apologizing challenge. This tweet proves to me that trannies get more love, or unironically more empowered than women at this point, because there's no fucking way that if a tranny came out, like Buck Angel comes out and says this, that Val should be saying that all Buck Angel had to do was shut the fuck up. Trans men being quieter and start apologizing challenge never would fucking happen. But Val comes out with an unironically groiper response saying, bitch, just shut the fuck up and write your fucking books, you stupid cunt. You don't get to speak about this. So she replies to Vaush, which is pretty significant. One of the most well-known authors of our generation, like it or not, replying to internet person saying, what you and your ilk fail to appreciate is how tremendously familiar I am with your tactics. I had a violent ex-husband who would tell me my life would be great if only I'd comply, but you're making the same mistake he did. Women like me can't be bullied out of resistance. Which caused some backlash. J.K. Rowling retweeted this in particular. Sophie XY, so trans, I guess. Trans people aren't a monolith, and plenty of us do not define our rights by forcing others to validate fiction like gender identity. My rights are not women's rights. I do not want my rights to erode theirs. Shouldn't you be busy advocating the decriminalization of child porn? Retweeted by J.K. Rowling. Uh-oh. So then the post-millennial comes out, and they write an article saying, J.K. Rowling slams suspected pedophile influencer Vaush for telling her to shut the fuck up, which means that he now gets the forehead treatment of suspected pedophile influencer, quote unquote, from the post-millennial. No longer Vaush, merely suspected pedophile influencer. Oof. He needs to take some tips from Nick Fuentes about optics checks. Really wonderful. I like how they just refer to him, like Newsweek refers to him as just Vaush. Post-millennial gets it right. Suspected pedophile influencer. I shouldn't be browsing around this without safety. There is a funny thing that I saw. Oh, it was just... Oh, you know what? I know where it's at. I saved it somewhere. Oh, you know what else I saved? Right before my stream started, I saw this. And It's one of the better AI generated soy jacks or Wojaks or whatever the fuck that I've seen. Where is it? Here, look at that while I try to find it. Yeah. Okay, here. Vouch, do you guys ever wonder if anyone here has ever fucked a minor while being an adult? Deleted user says no. Knocked out panda. I try not to think about that. Vouch, come on guys. Who's done it? Confess. Deleted user. I was really generous too. Lol Damar. Look at my life and then look at yours. Get some ambition while you're bored. And then Vouch says, Lol Damar has definitely fucked a 15-year-old in recent years. This man is obsessed with fucking kids and fucking horses. And I don't know. I mean, I guess fucking. I like horses and shit. They're animals, but. That's a kid, and then they grow up to be an adult, and then if they are molested, they become a homosexual, and then they molest more people. So fucking a kid is definitely way worse than fucking a horse, but they're both pretty bad. I would not want to be associated with either a horse fucker or a pedophile. He needs to get his optics checked out. And a horse can fight back. If a horse doesn't want you to fuck it, it will kick your ass. You take two horse hoofs to the chest, you're dead. Your chest is going to explode into gore. Kid can't do that unless it's like Janie and gets a gun. Okay, I think that's it with the Vouch stuff. I really don't care about Vouch. He's just off in his own little world. I do care about Nick Fuentes though. For whatever reason, to me, Nick Fuentes is more fun to make fun of. I don't know why that is. I guess Vouch is just like a creepy weirdo on the left. It's like, whatever. But Nick Fuentes is someone that people I know like. So it's like, why? Why do you like this man? So here's an optics check from Shadowman. Thank you for posting this.
Maybe we as a society need to rethink what constitutes moral sexuality. Because we live in a society where age of consent law is the gospel. Age of consent law, if you violate that, crucify the man. Female teachers are having sex with middle school boys all the time. Nobody cares about that. But it's a large age gap between an older man and a younger girl. God forbid. But homosexuality and trans and in between and this and that, no. But that's all perfectly okay. I think society that we live in has to rethink a little bit what they believe is moral and immoral sexuality. Large age gap, 17, I don't know that that's really a world-shattering, terrible thing. I don't even know that it's necessarily immoral other than that it was premarital. If Matt Gaetz had married her, I'd say, well, if he married her with her consent and the consent of the parents, this is completely moral. It's very traditional, and honestly, this is how it always used to be. But what you're supposed to do, I guess, is go to college, have lots and lots of sex, and experiment and do drugs and go on your careers, and then you're supposed to get married at like 32 or something, right? I guess that's a moral way. Anyway, so that's my first reaction as I see that, and I put it on Twitter. I said 17, so what? Who cares? My other reaction is this. I don't believe the FBI. I don't believe the DOJ about anything.
He's talking about Matt Gaetz. If you don't know, Matt Gaetz was not only like people focus on the fact that she was 17. I'm pretty sure she was like a sex trafficking victim is the actual contention. Matt Gaetz, if you don't know, is my representative from the 1st District of Florida. He is my congressman, and he is super pro-Trump. I get emails from him every day about stupid shit. I can actually read you the last thing from Matt Gaetz. Let's read the last titles of some of those emails I get. Just another media hoax from Matt Gaetz. These are not in order. Message from Congressman Matt Gaetz. Happy Independence. President Trump endorsement. These are super old. I guess I trashed most of them, so I don't get to see them. Firebrand episode 30. Freedom's Frontiers. He has his own podcast now. Support the truckers. No vaccine mandates. So he's my congressman. He had a scandal. He fucked a 17-year-old. He's married, by the way. So not only was I think he fucked a 17-year-old while married, so he cheated on his wife in the process. And I think that she was a prostitute, like in a sex trafficking ring, which is how he got caught because like the FBI was doing a sting operation on the sex trafficking ring and found out that this girl was with a congressman, which is a little bit oofsy daisy. Sitting congressman fucking a 17-year-old out of while cheating on his wife. Not a great look. Very disappointed in Matt Gaetz because I voted for him. I've met him in person, and he is the son of my superintendent when I was in school, Don Gaetz, who I have a signed letter from congratulating me on my FCAT scores. Very, very disappointing to hear that this man is floating around fucking 17-year-old hookers while married and while my sitting congressman. Really just stirs some patriotic goodwill towards my country and my party of the Republican Party. Really just straight from the gut. Why do I have no faith in my democratic system anymore, chat? I have no idea. Who knows? Which sex pest do you want to vote for this election cycle? It's very exciting. Anyways, my point. Okay, Nick Fuentes. Backtracking. Not a good optical check. At this point, I have two rules when it comes to like pedophile shit. If anyone jokes about being a pedophile, they're not joking. Flat out. Like, if anyone makes it funny, haha, I'm a pedophile, haha, just kidding, haha. No, that person is a fucking creepy weirdo. Don't let them near you. Second one, anyone who argues about age of consent like this is a fucking weirdo. There are arguments to be made about age of consent. The one that springs to mind is that the guy who did Corey, I can't remember his last name, the guy who did ghost gunning, he was extradited from Taiwan by the U.S. federal government to go to Texas to serve a statutory rape charge because he had consensual sex, and he was not married, so it's not cheating, with a girl who was 17, but who lied about being 18. She went to like a sugar daddy site, and she forged government documents to get on this website, and then lied to him in person, and they still booked him because it's a no-fault law in Texas. So it was completely 100%, as far as I'm fucking concerned, a setup by the federal government to put this guy in jail because as a political prisoner because he ran the ghost gunning business, who was at the time suing the Department of Defense. That's bullshit. What Matt Gaetz did is not ethical in any way, shape, or form. He should not be fucking underage hookers when he's, well, really, at any time. It's not appropriate. And he also violated the rule of age divided by 2 plus 7. It's not okay. It's not okay. There's cases to be made for Romeo and Juliet laws and shit. Doesn't apply. No conversation about this really applies. And when someone shoots back and says, like, oh, well, the age of consent in France is like 11. What about Japan? Japan is such a high... Japan has an age of consent of like 12. First of all, countries like France and Germany and the UK, which have lower ages of consent, usually also have a marriage stipulation. They never include that. And then in Japan, the federal age of consent is 12, but no district in Japan has an age of consent lower than like 16. So it's federally 12, but nowhere can you have sex with a 12-year-old in Japan. So all those fucking anime faggots thinking, I'm going to go to Japan and fuck a 12-year-old. Not without going to Whitey prison, where they store all the fucking white pigoos who come over to fuck 12-year-olds. And that's not a good place. You don't want to go there. The Japanese will not treat you right. Well, I mean, in that situation, they're probably treating you right. In response to this, by the way, a guy made 5 different accounts. All of them using an email address, including the word Nickcell, as in incel, but with Nick instead of in, as Boss Baby Incel 1. And Boss Baby Incel 1 was using a picture of PPP. So PPP obviously pissed this guy off enough to make him want to try and make an account making fun of him. Bourgeois Groiper, Brazilian intern, Nickcell, and Shada Enjoyer. All of them the same person. They're a guy from Hong Kong, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if he's like British or an Asian incel or like a Hapa incel. That would make sense, right? He's half British, half Chinese, so he's all fucked in the head. Listens to Nick Fuentes, the Mexican leader of the white race, while not being white himself, because he doesn't see. Usually, like the Hapas in the U.S. identify more with the Chinese because they're in a white country and everyone treats them like an Asian, but then like the Asians around them don't treat them like an Asian, so they think, well, China must be better because that's like my real country. I'm Chinese. But then, like the Chinese Hapas in China or Hong Kong or whatever, I guess it's the same thing now. They're like, oh no, all the Chinese people make fun of me for being a GI baby. I'm gonna support the Mexican leader of the white race because I'm really white, and that's the doomed fate of all mixed race children. They will fit in absolutely nowhere. But Shada Enjoyer backs up Nick Fuentes and says, I would think that this guy is just like intentionally trying to make Nick look bad, but he's going through like efforts to make it so that nobody except me could possibly know that this was the same person. He says here that Nick is right. Age of consent is a concept in Christian society legally divorced from the age of marriage, basically enshrining the idea of women as sex objects by fiat endorses women independence and blah, 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 blah. Same shit you'll always fucking hear from these people. And by the way, the Nixel guy is on Gab or whatever the fuck, posting shit like this. At Andrew Torbo on Gab. For the last 5 years, Wignats have had it easy on this platform. That ends right here and right now. Wignats will be looking over their shoulders from now on because Gab belongs to the Groiper. Christ is truly on our side. Let's go. And that appears to be... I want to say that's like... Why does he look so much like Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes doesn't have a jaw like that, but that looks like Jesus merged with Nick Fuentes. That's pretty fucking insane. That's pretty fucking out there. So this is this guy. Oh, and that's definitely the same person because he uses like classical art of like children as all his pictures everywhere. So he's like obsessed with like Western identity and shit, and then tries to like infuse his pedophilia into it. Like, oh, this painter painted a picture of children, so therefore I'm going to use it to prove that pedophilia is the natural order of things. That's a lot. Like, this guy's probably going to try to get my attention. So no matter what he does at this point, I'm ignoring him. I just want to point this out. This guy named Nixel is like a fucking insane pedophile and one of Nick Fuentes' biggest fans who thinks that he's Jesus. And I'm never going to bring this up again unless he like murders someone or goes to jail or murders himself, which would be the best possible outcome. By the way, Nick, that hairline, that is some male pattern baldness, and you don't have the face of like Detective Stabler on SVU. Okay, you can't wear your hairline like that. You better. I really think that Nick Fuentes, he's giving me that settle down energy. I think that Nick Fuentes needs to hook up with a nice young lady, maybe June, who can, he's gay, right? So hook up with June. And then June can go out and fuck black guys, and he can go out and fuck cat boys, and she'll be his beard, and they'll be like, because she wants like a conservative trad LARP guy to prove that she's trad. He'll make her look trad, and she'll make him look straight. And this will work out for both of them, and they don't ever have to see each other naked and be disgusted by this fact. But he's really gotta settle down soon, because just judging by that hairline, I can tell you this man's tea is going down the tube, and he's gonna be very soon an empty milk carton. This man's sperm is going to be powdered dust here in a second. He'll ejaculate and it'll just make a little poof, and it'll be like dust floating through the air, just completely, totally dehydrated, useless, dead floaters, just floating through the air. That's what's happening here. Just you got to find a man, Nick. You got to find a woman. No seed, can't breed. Milkless. Okay, that's the Nick Fuentes bit. Now we need to talk about my other favorite person, Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph has started up a new podcast called The Good, the Bad, and the Rad, starring Rad Roberts. And we're going to listen to a couple minutes of this. Some nice classical music picked up by Ralph.
Hey, how is everybody doing? So I put out a Twitter poll a couple days ago asking for people what they wanted me to talk about in this promotional video, because a certain someone had insinuated that I was a sick fuck for wanting to make this channel. They don't even know what it's about yet, but I thought, hey, let's indulge it. What is it that makes up a sick fuck? So I wanted to know, hey, do you guys want me to talk about my recent revenge porn conviction? Do you want me to talk about my felony conviction? Do you want me to talk about my alcoholism or my serious substance abuse? Some people got the joke, some people didn't. Obviously, I don't have any of those problems. I'm not a convicted revenge pornographer. I'm not a felon, not an alcoholic. I barely drink. in public and socially, and I never drink while I'm alone because that's kind of just sad.
Here, I want you guys to look at something. In case you're listening, I'll explain in a second. Watch his eyes very closely. Can I zoom in? What's my options here for zooming in? I don't think I can zoom in. Just watch his eyes the best you can.
You guys want me to talk about my recent revenge porn conviction?
Do you see this? One more time, chat. One more time. Watch his eyes.
Revenge porn conviction. Do you want me to talk about my felony conviction? Do you want me to talk?
See, Ethan Ralph, after going to Portugal and getting his skull cracked, now blinks one eyelid at a time, which makes me believe that maybe Ethan Ralph is dead. And this Ethan Ralph is actually a lizard person who has stolen his skin. After his purse was stolen on the street, and a lizard person stole his skin and is now wearing it and cannot blink correctly. He's still figuring out, like, the skin's not attached properly to the meat. So he's breaking it in still. Very strange. I'll let him continue.
And I've never abused substances, with the exception of maybe some Diet Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Guilty.
Whatever. The point is that Ralph is making that his arch nemesis, Matthew Vickers, is a worse person than he is, because Matthew Vickers has done all these terrible things, like publishing revenge pornography and being an alcoholic and knocking up women, yada, yada, yada. And obviously Ethan Ralph is a better person than Matthew Vickers. So he has to go and form a nice list and make a new podcast all about his life and how he's better than Matthew Vickers. And the things that, and he even decorates his little room. He's got Funko Pops back there. Looks like the Gauntlet from the Purple Man, Purple Shrek. Purple Shrek has a big metal fist that you put gems into, and that looks like the Shrek's Gauntlet. And then you have a GameCube back there, and his little logo of his brand. So he's like custom printed a picture of his fucking face on a pillow, so he can put it in the back of his room and pretend that he's like a real YouTuber, so that he can make a better podcast than Matthew Vickers' podcast. Ralph is just going to sit here and look, you know how much I use that same mic. You know how fucking expensive that mic is? That's like a $600 microphone. That whole setup is like $1,000. If he bought like the equipment and shit too, that's like $1,000. So he's like, fuck it, I'm going to make a podcast better than Matthew Vickers, and I'm going to make it super professional. I'm going to have my nice arrangement of Funko Pops, and I see a silver coin back there, and a pillow of my fucking face on the fucking shelf, and I'm just going to show Matthew Vickers that I am the better man. But really, Ethan Ralph and Matthew Vickers are pretty much the same fucking person, which is why, as I've said in the past, that the reason why Faith went out of town and got knocked up is to spite Daddy, and Ethan Ralph and Matthew Vickers are exactly like each other. He makes I need a sign. If I had a room like this, I would be tapping a sign in the back on my shelf that says if you need to tell people you're better than someone, you're probably not. And Vickers falls right into that. I can tell that my chat is mostly midwits. The joke is that they're the same fucking person. Okay, chat, you get it? They're the same person. He has his podcast. He has the same personality disorders, the same like weird defiance disorders. And he's sitting there and he's desperately trying to explain. He's making a show. He's bootstrapping a entire YouTube podcast off the fact that his daughter was fucked and impregnated and humiliated by Ethan Ralph. He is taking that notoriety of being the dipshit retard father that birthed such a that impregnated, that arose the spawn of someone so fucking retarded and mentally shattered that they were impregnated by Ethan Ralph. He is now taking that utter humiliation, the desecration of his family name, and the offspring of, and using that infamy to build a podcast so that he can prove to Ethan Ralph that he's a better podcaster and entertainer than him for whatever reason, because he has the same utterly spiteful, insipid, low IQ personality that Ralph has. And he did. He went to all the fucking lengths. I can see his I forget what you call it. That thing, you see the silver thing in the back there that looks like a car radio? I have something like that on my desk. I can use it to like fuck with my volume. Oh, sorry, I blew your eardrums out. I shouldn't fuck with my volume to demonstrate that I have one of these things on my desk. Anyways, it's a lot of money is what I'm trying to say. He put all this money in. He put a lot of money into this setup so that he can prove to the world that he's better than Ethan Ralph. Muted. I'm not muted, chat. Don't fuck with me. I'll let it. Actually, I've not watched this all the way through. We'll go until we get bored.
But while we're at it, there's this list of other things. I've numbered them because it's important. Number 1, never knocked up a woman out of wedlock.
Oh, that's right. He just goes on a list and says, like, I've never done these things that are bad. I'll skip the list. Oh, God, I'm going to break my chat because I refreshed the page.
My kids, let alone 100%, make mistakes. I got it. Even 4 or 5 of those things, I would say, if the person's apologetic, they could, make it through. But 22 things.
He really listed 22
and
fucking
I'm a
things?
sick fuck for some videos.
He looks so much like Ralph. Look at him.
Well,
Look at how much he looks like Ralph. He looks like if you took Ethan Ralph in one hand and Boogie in the other and went bam and smashed them together. That's the motherfucker that would fall out between your hands onto your head, okay? That's the person. Even sounds like Boogie. Like his speaking and his demeanor is exactly like Boogie. He just looks like Ralph with Boogie's beard and mannerisms.
Wind to number 11 because chances are a storm's fucking coming.
A storm's coming. Okay,
Have a
so he's
good
threatening.
one.
Exactly like Ralph. Exactly like Ralph sitting there going, Mr. Vickers is saying all this shit on me on fucking Twitter. Well, I'll show him, motherfucker. You better watch, boy. Storm's coming. Like, okay, Rad Roberts. And this whole thing, his name is like Vicious Vickers, which is exactly like Rad Roberts. It's like, in every way, this man is a reflection of Ethan Ralph. And just like Ethan Ralph, he can't fucking tell. He either can't tell or he refuses to admit it. It's so baffling. And he thinks, and just like Ralph, he's on Twitter replying to Faith in public on Twitter, even though they're related, saying, Faith says, supposedly I'm a meth head because sharp canines and yellow teeth. And yes, it looks like she's a fucking meth head. In fact, her boyfriend accused her of doing meth and she has meth mouth. Vickers replies to his daughter, who had Ethan Ralph's child, saying, it's a typical no evidence, connect the dots, Kiwi Spurg, same words that Ralph uses to describe the forum, Kiwi Spurg narrative from back in the early days, kind of like how Faith still lives at home, moved out well over a year ago, and how I'm raising Xander, I've changed 2 diapers. Even Noel follows the false narratives like gospel. Even Noel. So he's even developing like a weird, like one-sided feud where he has to like prove me wrong as well. He's responding, by the way, to me making fun of him on the forum for raising Ralph's baby. Right now, the only person, like, he has, I think, one grandchild between his kids, and it is genetically half Ralph. And I said, you have been cucked. Your dynasty has been irreparably infused with this man who you hate, who you loathe, who you have based an entire internet persona around being in a feud with, who you've spent thousands of dollars to fuck with in the courts. This man owns your bloodline. He owns it. And you've raised another man's child because your single mom daughter can't do it by herself. So he refutes this and goes, I've only changed 2 diapers and she actually lives with grandma. So like your ass just admits, number one, you don't want to support these people because they're fucking losers. So she goes off to grandma's house, who is probably fucking 80 years old at this point. And also is like ashamed of raising this grandkid. I've changed 2 diapers. My grandfather would not be ashamed to admit that he helped raise me. Like, there would be no shame there. But he has to back this up and say, actually, I've only changed its diapers twice. Like, why do you have to say that? Why do you have to say that, Vickers? Why do you have to say that you've only changed its diapers twice and you have minimal involvement in its life? Is it because you're ashamed of this child that you are now genetically related to and will probably be your only genetic legacy at this point? Is this why you have to clarify that you only have changed its diapers twice and you have no involvement with it? Is that why, Vickers? Is it because you're ashamed of this fucking blight in your family? Could that be why? Like, unbelievable. And it's such a Ralph move, too. To say something stupid that admits something about how you feel about your own grandkid because you have to prove people on the internet wrong. Like, how embarrassing. And this dumb motherfucker really thinks that the forum won't last until this kid can read. I guarantee you it will. Even if you come to my house and shoot me fucking dead, there is archives of this. There are people who have access to the database. There are people who can pull this hard drive out and make it live, and who would do so. I remember, I can't remember what the context was, but I remember, like, I had a buddy contact me out of the blue and said, like, he was making plans to come back to the U.S. to get my fucking hard drives because he thought I had died for some reason. So it's like the moment I disappear, there are people who are like, okay, we have to go to Vegas and we have to secure the hard drives of the Kiwi Farms. We have to find the cloud backup of the site and bring it back to life. It's like, he's just unbelievably short-sighted, exactly like Ralph. And anytime I can say anything about him, I can always add exactly like Ralph, because it's always exactly like Ralph. Even the fact that he denies that it's exactly like Ralph is exactly like Ralph. Because you compare Ralph to Monday Matt, and he's like, nah, boy. Nah. Because he either refuses to admit it or doesn't believe it. Just crazy. Just crazy, chat. Very interesting. Yeah, dude, this poor kid has his whole family of locales documented on the internet, even with Grandpa now. Exactly. Yeah, like his daughter, his mom is a fucking retard. He'll be able. Kids at his school will see this woman's asshole being penetrated and sniffed by Ethan Ralph. They will see the moment of his conception on the internet and bully him for it. And there is a that's not a joke. There's an epidemic right now, from what I understand, in low income schools where teachers have issues with children finding their classmates' OnlyFans and bullying them for it. Like, here's pictures of your mom naked, retard. Like, obviously that's going to fucking happen. And then they're going to see, oh, my grandpa distanced himself from me and says that he involves himself minimally with me and shipped my mom off to live with someone else because he doesn't want to be around me, so that he can put up some kind of fucking internet feud with two different retards on the internet. Like, how cringe. How pathetic. How utterly fucking pathetic. How soul-crushingly pathetic to even think about that this kid is raised in this environment. Sucks to be, I don't know how I'm going to follow that up with Jake Paul. Oh, jeez. That's all I have to say about Vickers. I have nothing to say about Ralph. I can't tell you what he's been up to. I think he's been, like, on the beach. He went to AFPAC or something. Fumbled around in AFPAC. And he wasn't a speaker. Nick Fuentes is not dumb enough to let that man near a microphone. No data. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that I noticed that my internet went out. It was a good time, too. Good time for the internet to go out. Is right after I'm segueing to a different area. I'll take a sip of water while everyone reconnects. Welcome back, chat. So Jake Paul, known mostly for going to a wooded area of Japan and streaming a dead body to YouTube, has teamed up with Soulja Boy Lil Yachty to advertise a cryptocurrency project called Safe Moon. And there are, in case you don't know, in the world, there are these projects which are essentially Ponzi schemes. Like, you have technologies like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Monero and BAT, of course, which have a purpose. They are designed as a solution to a problem which presently exists, and it requires a specific digital currency implementation to resolve. However, in the advent of this groundbreaking idea of digital currency, people realized that you could make a lot of fucking money through cryptocurrency, because a lot of these people are investors trying to find the next Bitcoin, thinking, oh, I can invest money into this project at pennies, and then it'll be $60,000 in a couple years. That's what a lot of people are hoping for, especially like Indians and stuff. And it is like a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme, because what happens is that someone makes a project like Safe Moon, worth absolutely nothing. What they do is they sell it for a token. You go to their website and it's called like a drop or something. I forget the name of it. But essentially you send, like with an Ethereum token, the way they do these is you send Ethereum, which is a valuable currency that has a real purpose, to their Ethereum wallets. And then based on how much Ethereum you give them, the people who make this technology, they send you tokens, which if you ever hear an Ethereum token, that's what it is. So they send you like a token in response saying, okay, you gave us $1,000 worth of Ethereum, so you get a million Safe Moon tokens. And based on how much Safe Moon is worth, that's probably exactly what it is. You get $1 million Safe Moon tokens for every $1,000 of Ethereum that you send them. And then everyone thinks, oh my God, this is a thing that I'm going to make money off of. This is going to be worth $1 each, and then I'll have $1 million for my $1,000 investment. So you're now Pajit. You live in Delhi in India, and you have invested your entire life savings. You've worked every day for the last 20 years to make $1,000, and you've now invested that entirely in Safe Moon because Soulja Boy, your favorite rapper, cranked that hoe and then told you that this is the next big thing. So then you tell everyone in your village that they should sell their cows and put the money in Safe Moon because it's going to be the next big thing. And then the value goes up and you think, oh my God, I'm up 2x. I've got $2,000 worth of Safe Moon now. And then Lil Yachty comes on and Jake Paul's selling it on his YouTube account. So you think, oh my God, it's going to go up again. So you take a reverse mortgage. You tell the banker that you're taking out a loan against your house, and you're going to put that money, and now you put everything you've owned and then shit you don't own into Safe Moon. You've given it all up to Soulja Boy, Lil Yachty, and Jake Paul, who are at the tippy top of this pyramid scheme with the CEO of the Safe Moon founder, Brandon Caroni. And then they sell. Soulja Boy, Lil Yachty, and Jake Paul sell their Safe Moon token at market, so they dump it onto the exchanges, and they clear out all the buy orders at every level, and then suddenly it drops from 153 to 1119. And this is what is called a rug pull. It is when a founder has token, sells the token, and then once the buy orders are filled up on the market, they sell it, and your token is worth nothing, and then they disappear. So then you don't have enough money. You don't have your $1,000. Everyone in your village hates you because they sold their cows and now they only have like $10 in Safe Moon token and they can't sell it. And then the mortgage company comes and takes your house because you put a reverse mortgage on your home and now you can't pay it back. And that's essentially what happens with these projects. So never number one ever, never invest your. Oh, actually here it says exactly what it is. Safe Moon token hit a low of Here it was, God, it's such a shit token too. It's like fractions of $1, and then it's worth way less than that, like half of what it was. An 80% drop from its height during the class period. Complete garbage. Number one, never invest more money than you're willing to lose. Number two, never do a short unless you know what the fuck you're doing, and generally unless you're a gambling addict. And number three, don't invest money into something you don't understand, because people don't understand. And like just the name is like a scam. Safe Moon, like it's a meme. Like they say, when Bitcoin goes way up, it went from $1,000 to $60. It went to the moon, and now it's like a meme. So the guys take the meme and they call it Safe Moon, and then everyone who's retarded thinks, oh my God, this is a surefire thing because it's called Safe Moon. And that's like the actual thought process that goes into investing your fucking money into this shit. Is it's literally called Safe Moon, and Soulja Boy told you that it's a good thing. Like, for real, fucking retarded. Safe Moon. I mean, and I actually kind of root for the securities exchange on this one. It's like I would love for the government to take obvious scams like this and remove them from the economy because they do nothing but hurt like you say, oh, I accept cryptocurrency, and then someone snubs their nose and goes, oh, cryptocurrency, that shit that Soldier Boy tells people to buy, that's a scam. And it's just like, fuck. It ruins a good thing for everybody when retards like this have their way. This is exactly why regulation happens to begin with, when ideally things would be unregulated. Economic Darwinism, yeah, but it hurts everybody. It hurts everyone when you have scams like this, which is why I'm not like a true like ANCAP LARPer. I think I do believe in some protections. People are stupid, and there needs to be some way to make sure that fucking Soldier Boy doesn't make $100 million off of fucking retards. That's just bullshit. It's not fair. People are stupid. They can't help it. They need some protection from themselves at some point. Government exists to protect and reward the stupid. I don't know. I do agree that at a certain point people should be left to their own devices, but at the same time, I don't like obviously malicious bad people, pulling shit off like this and being rewarded for it. We shouldn't encourage a society of exploitation, because it's contrary to what a society should be. You should have some pride in that, and you should be trying to build it up and not rip each other off. Now, if these guys were scamming only Indians, more power to them. Okay, that's the Jake Paul show. Other strange little news thing. The biggest update to the Weebors board in fucking forever. Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, God, I was thinking, do you really have? This person doesn't really have triple parentheses in their username. And then I remembered that I have the extension. I have the coincidence detector extension. Damon Mills, who is a homosexual voice actor in the anime voice acting industry, was accused of homosexual pederasty, I'm pretty sure. Where's the article at? Here we go. From the Anime News Network. In a public document, an Ohio man has accused Evangelion film and Sonny Boy voice actor Damon Mills of groping him and masturbating next to him while he was asleep. According to the alleged victim, the incidents took place between 2014 and 2015 when the man was a high school student and Mills was 20 to 21 years old. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Mills, through a cease and desist letter sent the alleged victim on February 18th, asserts that the relationship was consensual and mutual, and the allegations are wholeheartedly false and without merit. The voice actor is asking that the allegations be retracted. According to the man who spoke to Anime News Network over a video call and was asked to be called Duncan due to concerns over retaliation and privacy, he met Mills via Facebook when he was just a shy, quiet, and anxious 15-year-old boy. He said that they began talking at December of 2012 when the yet undiscovered voice actor was living in Hawaii. According to Duncan, they became familiar with one another through the fandom scene, blah, blah, blah. Then he jerked off on them, I guess. Now, the anime people have declared this a unconditional victory. This man who has decried Vic Mignogna is now Jay himself, and therefore Vic wins yet again, boys and girls. Damon Mills from 2019 says, many voices have been echoing a pressing issue, and this needs a strong united front. I believe survivors. It takes a tremendous level of courage to speak openly about sexual assault and trauma. Please support victims. Don't dismiss their stories. There's truth to be heard. Love emoji. And again, on February 7th, 2019, read Monica's thread. Wait. Monica. I always call her Monica. I forget that Monica is a real name. I've only heard the black version, Monica, for most of my life, and I always think it's Monica. No, it's Monica. Read Monica's thread. Open your eyes. People need to stop being so blind as to what is happening. I stand firmly with Monica and every single other victim he has violated and harassed. Stop challenging facts and belittling victims and supporters. You know, I remember when I was on Nick Rekieta's show, and we were talking about the Vic Mignogna stuff. I kept calling her Monica, and every time I did, he would smile and laugh to himself very quietly. And then I realized, like 20 minutes later, like the chat was telling me that I'm pronouncing her name wrong. It's Monica, not Monica. And I said something like incredulous, like, "Why didn't you correct me?" And he said he thought it was funny. So he just sit there and let me pretend that Monica was a black lady for the entire fucking stream. Good times. One day I will stop being sued by people that Nick Rekieta is talking about on the stream. I can say hello again. He's apparently going to talk about the filings from the Melinda Scott case. Hopefully he'll. I don't know if it's secret or not. Actually, no. I already explained what it is. She's pregnant. That'll be a good time. That'll be a laugh riot. Oh, okay. I have some miscellaneous stuff to wrap up with. So we've now crossed the hour mark, and once I've been talking for an hour, I become uncomfortable, as we all know. 2 tech issues that I have lined up. One is the message from Gabriel (parenthesis, parenthesis, 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 Weinberg (parenthesis, parenthesis, 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 verified checkmark) at Yegg, who I believe is the founder and owner, CEO and founder of DuckDuckGo. Gabriel says, "Like so many others, I am sickened by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the gigantic humanitarian crisis it continues to create. #StandWithUkraine. At DuckDuckGo, we've been rolling out search updates that downrank sites associated with Russian disinformation. In addition to downranking sites associated with disinformation, we also often place news modules and other information boxes at the top of DuckDuckGo search results, where they are seen and clicked the most, to highlight quality information for rapidly unfolding topics. DuckDuckGo's mission is to make simple privacy protection accessible to all. Privacy is a human right and transcends politics, which is why 100 million people around the world use DuckDuckGo. We don't have an exact count since we don't track people." I am conflicted on this. I obviously don't agree with fucking with information like this, but to an extent, as someone who runs services, I kind of understand that there is a desire to make a service high quality by emphasizing better sources and stuff. I can understand to an extent what they're going for. My other thing that I am concerned about with this is the reaction to this is very, very negative, which is understandable because they're openly admitting to fucking with results to highlight good information, right? Which is not something that a lot of users of DuckDuckGo would want, is people fucking with their information. However, my concern with the overwhelmingly negative response to this is that it tells search engines that if you admit to doing anything, people will hate you for it. Whereas Google actively fucks with everything all the fucking time, and nobody cares, and they don't say anything about it because they don't have to. And it's like I would rather that providers be rewarded for being honest about what they do to manipulate search results, than as opposed to being keeping it a trade secret like Google does. So I'm very mixed about this. I feel kind of bad that they're doing the right thing by being honest about what they're doing and are being denigrated for it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Do I trust Gabriel Weinman to tell me what's true and what isn't? Well, no, of course not. I don't trust anyone to tell me what's true and what isn't. So I can be mad at both. I mean, I am. It does suck because you understand like why a service provider would keep things secret from you, despite having a policy of transparency. If this is the kind of reaction that they get for speaking up about the actions of their company, but at the same time, it's just like Yeah, it is kind of shit. I think that in this case, if you are like a fan of DuckDuckGo, you should voice your opposition to it without being like, "Well, I'm not going to use it anymore." I think threatening to not use it is may not be the way to go. But what do I know? It is. It's a very intense. Like the whole reason why you want people to be transparent about what they're doing with a service is so that you can switch off it if they start doing things that you don't like. But DuckDuckGo is kind of like a like a leader in their privacy oriented search results and stuff. Though I don't know. The reaction is so negative that maybe he'll reverse on it or something, or expand, make it an option. And it's nice to have options. Shouldn't have done it in the first place if they care about transparency. Even if Russia lies, there's no reason to prevent people from seeing lies that can be reasonably be disproven by other sources. I do agree with that very much. And like I said, my main thought is just that it's concerning to see such an overwhelm. Like, they could have just not told anyone, and probably people wouldn't have noticed. You know what I mean? It's not like people search stuff on DuckDuckGo and then say, like, where's my Russia Today link? I don't see Sputnik News anywhere. That's exactly what I was... Are they, like, demoting Sputnik? I love Sputnik News. I was like, I'm not really... Oh, you know what's funny? Oh, man. I don't know what country my proxy is. Hold up. I want to see if I can show people this. Oh, it does work. Oh, it doesn't. What the fuck? Depending on what country your VPN is, RT.com, RT_com, if you go on Twitter, if you're in like a European Union country, I think is what it searches for. Because my VPN right now is set to the UK. The UK isn't EU anymore. But you get a message that says, account withheld. RT_com's account has been withheld in Portugal, Finland, Sweden, Ireland, Slovenia, Czech Republic, blah, 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 in response to a legal demand. So you cannot view Sputnik or RT on Twitter if you're in the EU, because they have actually literally, in the literal definition of the word, literally censored these publications in the European Union. Fucking crazy, ain't it? So I'm so concerned about this internet shit because they're actively censoring stuff, literally censoring shit. Like, why? It's called Russia Today. It's called Sputnik. I'm pretty sure that the average person sees Russia Today and thinks, "Oh, this is the Russian point of view." You know what I mean? Like, how protected does the average person in Belgium need to be from the Russian point of view? Are there people? Is this a critical issue in Belgium? And what's another funny European country? Slovenia. Yeah, watch out for the Slovenians. If you let Sputnik talk to the Slovenians, they're gonna fucking overthrow the government. They're gonna start the Third Reich in Slovenia. Like, get real. Stop treating people like fucking babies. Liechtenstein isn't in the EU. Checkmate. If you're in Liechtenstein, you can read as much Sputnik as you want. Nobody's going to stop you. They have a king, I think, or maybe it's like a prince. I think they have a monarchy in Liechtenstein, and they the UN has condemned them formally for having a monarch still. But there's only like 10 people that live in Liechtenstein, so they're just like, fuck you. We like our prince. He hangs out at the pub with us and drinks beer and watches football. We're not getting rid of him. Liechtenstein has a duke. Liechtenstein is not the new Switzerland. Liechtenstein is Switzerland. When Switzerland has to hide shit, like Nazi gold, they use Liechtenstein. And that's why Liechtenstein has remained an independent country throughout the years, is because it benefits Switzerland, because they have like a weird partnership. If you don't know, Liechtenstein is sandwiched between Austria and Switzerland, and they have like a weird partnership where Switzerland protects the sovereignty of Liechtenstein. Neither of them are in the EU. They both use the Swiss franc, and Switzerland uses Liechtenstein's independence to game like geopolitical situations and stuff. Very interesting. Never trust the Swiss or the Liechtensteiners. Let's talk flags. I don't have any flag talk today. I'm tired of seeing the Ukrainian flag. That counts as flag talk. That's my hot flag take of the day. Fucking sick of it. I like blue and gold in general. Blue and gold are a beautiful combination. Fucking tired of it, chat. I can't stand it anymore. Speaking of, just real quick, I'm only mentioning this because it's tech stuff and it interests me. Actually, I don't even know. I didn't mention this, did I? Cogent. I'm just going to repeat myself just in case. Cogent, an internet backbone company. One of the few, there's only 6 or 7 companies in the world that are called an internet backbone. And even though Cogent isn't actually an internet backbone, they're missing one connection to some Chinese company to be considered an internet backbone. They have banned all their Russian customers. They've banned all their Russian customers, and they're an internet backbone. So now the amount of available bandwidth out of Russia is significantly reduced because they cannot access this ISP directly. So it's happening. The little I internet of Russia is forming, and this is another issue that exacerbates and solidifies a little I internet. Because what happened is Russia has a couple big banks which are currently formally sanctioned by the U.S. and other international organizations called Gosis Lugi. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce that, but they released an email to people saying some sites may not open now. This is due to problems in the work of certificate authorities that check the security and reliability of capital I internet resources. In order to have access to all sites and the necessary online services, including the state services, we recommend installing browsers that support the Russian Certificate Authority. Now, there is such functionality, for example, in Yandex Browser or Atom Hope, Hope for Understanding, the Mint Cifra team. So they're literally telling people to install a Russian browser that uses a different root certificate authority, because the American one that they were using, which was called Trekka or something, Trapka, it had a weird name, but here, Thoughta said revoke their certificates. So the major banks which rely on SSL certificate authorities like Thoughta have revoked their SSL certificates. So now nobody can access the fucking bank account because you get a SSL error when you try to visit the website, because Thoughta, a international certificate authority, sanctioned Russia by revoking their bank certificates. So now to get around this, they're having to tell people to install a Yandex browser that uses a Russian certificate authority that still verifies their certificates, which is fucking nuts. If the SSL certificate authorities are blocking shit in Russia, soft blocking Russian websites by invalidating their certificates, that means that every country has to run their own certificate authority, because it puts you at international threat for these unlegislated foreign companies to randomly say, oh, you can't access your fucking bank account today because we're invalidating your SSL certificate. That's a huge issue. That's massive. That's like a proper step towards a fragmentation of the internet along economic borders like Russia, China, EU, and America. I'm not happy with this at all. I'm really not happy to see this in real time. But I knew it was coming. I knew when Russia was forcing ISPs to run tests to see what would happen if they could not communicate with any non-Russian ISP, like essentially shutting off the internet and making a little I internet for 1 minute. It was a 1 minute test, but when that happened, I knew they were preparing for something like this, and they were in their rights to be prepared because it's happening. It's literally happening. It's scary, and it sucks because I like a lot of people from Russia and all over the world, and we're gonna go back to a time when you could only talk to your neighbors. You can only talk freely to people in your economic union and who you're on good terms. Your economic union's on good terms with. Like, fuck that. On that note, I would like people to look into Tor. There are 2 Twitter accounts I'll actually show real quick, just in case you're a Twitterer, you're interested in these kinds of topics. I'm not going to chew your ear off for much longer. There's @Tor Project, and then @EFF. And if you don't use Twitter, I would actually strongly suggest visiting EFF.org. The EFF is the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and they have some of the strongest pro-internet, pro-personal liberty consistent stances that I've ever seen, which is why they're the only nonprofit that I actively follow. Because the rest are shit. Someone looked at this and said, like, some gay put out, like, they're protesting, like, fucking with Russian internet and shit, and it's good. It's good to have that kind of voice. But someone complained that there's, like, a gay thing on this. And here it is. Twitter and Facebook must speak out against Ghana's repulsive anti-LGBTI bill. And this is a horrific, appalling flag which takes the Ghana flag and the rainbow flag and mashes them together. A truly abhorrent thing to look at. And this is still about censorship. Ghana wants to ban gays and wants to ban people talking about gays. And I think it proposes that like Twitter and Facebook would have to delete content that's gay or stop it from showing up in Ghana. And this is it's consistent with everything else that they're for. They're for not censoring Sputnik, not censoring Russia Today, not censoring news from either side of the war, not fucking with the internet. And they're saying, like, don't enforce an anti-gay ban from Ghana. And someone sees this and they think, like, oh, this is pause. And if it is pause, I'm sure it has a little bit of pause floating around in it because it's an NGO and it's involved in the internet. It's the least paused of all such things. So don't be so quick to throw it out. Didn't the EU try to implement a similar law not for copyrighted material, not gay shit? Yes. Can't remember what the fuck it was called, but yes, they proposed some horrific sweeping copyright bill that, I mean, it's just a nightmare. Nobody's gonna host in the EU, though. I don't know, with little internets, you don't have a fucking choice right now. If you want freedom, you host in the US, but maybe the EU, for economic reasons, will start banning certain websites that don't comply with their copyright laws. Because how big of a step is that? You say, well, we're banning on misinformation, and now we're banning copyright. You can't visit these websites. We're revoking their SSL certificates from our EU SSL authority, which by law all browsers must sync to in order to use the internet from the EU. We're banning it because it's a copyright infringement. It's like, well, fuck you, fuck all this shit. I'm really just sick of it. Go to Ukraine and tell us how bad censorship is. What? What the fuck does that mean? It's always bad. What the fuck kind of non sequitur is that? Go to a war zone and then you'll see how bad censorship really is. What the fuck does that mean, retard? Australia banned the farms for a period of time. No, that is a misconception. I can't remember what company it was. I think it was Verizon Australia. But preemptively, before getting any kind of complaint from the government, a Australian New Zealand company basically censored the site through its DNS server in those countries. But they didn't do that because of the government. And then when people found out about this, I told them to email their ISP and complain very loudly. And it was overturned within like 24 hours because enough people complained. In case you're wondering how that works, I'm telling you, the internet is so fragile. People don't really understand. When you connect to your ISP, if you have an unmodified device, you just have a regular phone or a regular computer, and you connect to your ISP, you get a couple of things of information from your ISP. You get their gateway, you get their what your IP is, you get their like some networking information, but then they also suggest to you DNS, the domain name servers. So you'll get from your ISP domain name servers, and then when you go to type in kiwifarms.net, you ask your domain name servers, which by default will be the ones that your ISP provides to you. And then if the ISP DNS servers are actively prohibiting resolving kiwifarms.net, it will return to you a not found error, as if the site doesn't exist at all. It never has existed. That's what DNS blocking is. And that's what everyone should use. Should know how DNS works and know how to change their DNS servers to like Cloudflare's is just 1.1.1 and 1.0.0.1. I think so. Or 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. Like, memorize those numbers. You can change your DNS server to them and get around censorship like that. Or if you use Tor, Tor uses a different way to resolve domain names, so you can always connect the shit with the Tor browser, which is why it's good to have it on your phone or your computer. But like my grandma's ISP was Cox, and if you typed in a domain name that it couldn't find, instead of just saying that it couldn't find your domain name, it would lie to you. It would lie to you and resolve your domain name to their like search engine. They had like a proprietary search engine that they added ads to. So you would type in like brokendomain.top or whatever, and you would get forwarded to their search engine because they would hijack your. And this is how like your Starbucks Wi-Fi works. You connect to their Wi-Fi and then you get like a DNS hijack. You type in google.com and then Starbucks says, no. You must first go to terms and conditions.starbucks.com, and then once you accept our terms and conditions, then your DNS will resolve to google.com correctly. DNS hijacking is fucking evil, and fuck anyone that does it, basically. Always change your DNS to either Google's or Cloudflare's, or there's tons of free ones out there. Just change them. And any good VPN will also use their own DNS that is not, because we had an issue with it was IBM. IBM censored the forum for a while. So anyone using like corporate Wi-Fi that used their DNS resolver, they got a 404. So fuck, that's bullshit. It's so bullshit that these companies can just fuck you over and there's no like, you can't even like appeal it. There's no appeals process for this. My appeals. Here's how I appeal shit being blocked now. I tell people who notice it to complain. When firewalls started blocking the Kiwi Farms for harmful content, I told them to complain. I pulled up a giant list of their customer service email addresses and their contact forms and how to complain. I told them this is who you contact. Yell at them. Say that they're faggots. Say that you're going to drop their service. And that works. That actually works. Complaining has worked since the 1960s. Complaining works right now. As we can see, I'm having to change, the Karens have invaded, and I'm having to change my position on Chantal. Actually, deplatforming is totally based and cool, and you shouldn't kill yourself if you think that. Well, I think I'm done. Have I missed anything? How strained is the relationship between Russia and Serbia right now? Bro, Serbia is the only country in the world that has fucking demonstrations in support of Putin. There are people marching down the streets of Belgrade in support of Putin, waving Russian flags. Only country in the world that is doing this. That's because, if you don't remember, NATO bombed the fuck out of Belgrade and tore a chunk of it off and named it Kosovo, which is not a legitimate state, in case you're wondering. Kosovo can go fuck itself. It's full of Albanians, but it's rightful Serbian clay. Wasn't a large portion of Tor's nodes compromised by the FBI? No, that is not true. There is an identification attack that Tor has, I think, corrected to some degree. But it's very hard to pull off, and it only works against hidden services. So this was discovered because the FBI wanted to unveil a bunch of child pornography sites, and they did an exploit to identify the location of those sites. And that worked, but now people believe that Tor as a whole is compromised, and it is not. Tor is still the most anonymous network on the internet. There is no VPN that can offer you better security than the Onion routing system can. Why don't I put my wallet address up during these streams? You can Find it on the site. I might do a little bit more to make more money in the future. I would like, once I have some more space and I have a comfy gaming environment, I would like to stream like CK3 and stuff. I think me playing CK3 would probably be fun. I think people would like that because it's a fun game where you like raid people's buildings and then steal their wives and make them concubines, and then you kill babies because they're threatening your inheritance. I think people would find that really funny. A CK3 playthrough. All right. Okay. Oh god, I went to like desktop editing mode. Okay. If you want to support, there's the Gumroad. The link is on the end of the stream. I think that's it. I don't see anything in chat that I didn't cover. So I guess I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for... Oh, Chris. I already mentioned Chris. I mentioned that he went to a mental hospital. I think that's it. The Ghost of Kiev, Grandpa of Kharkiv, Sneeder of Odessa. Okay. All right, bye-bye. Where's my outro song at? Oh, wait. Where'd it go? Okay. Bye-bye.
Seven more were bound for battle me, and hardly got away before a tempest shook the sea. Poseidon sends mighty hordes, lash the sails, strain the cords, sing it all away. The Black Sea gale, to the yeoman straight away, he answered with a grin. I don't know where we're going to, but I sure know where we've been. The wind comes on, shakes the sky, we press on, faces high, sing it all away. The Black Sea gale, we sing so loud, we sing so proud, amidst the howling wind. Some men and shake them to the bone. The songs they learned at Mummy's knee will always bring them home. The linden tree, strain and bend, storm is gone, rise again, sing it all away. The Black Sea gale, they sing so loud, we sing so proud, amidst the howling wind. Odessa, your sons are lost, their weary hands are crossed the deck side, faces pale. Black Sea gale. Amidst the howling wind, Odessa, your sons are lost, their weary bodies tossed and pitched up to the rail. Black Sea gale, sea
I did it. I made it. The flag.